Hello folks and welcome back to Shogun Total War. I'm Kinda Step and this is going to be my army composition video for Clan Hojo. And for Clan Hojo, it can be a bit tricky to try to find out what sort of units you want to use that are unique to this clan. Sort of like how Clan Imagawa has a clan bonus for discounts for shinobi and assassins or ninjas. So you think, okay, so how does that translate to an army composition? Well, it's very similar to how I had to go about it with the Hojo clan. The clan discount is going to be for castles, which, well, it's very useful on the campaign map. It's very boring as well, and it does not really give you too many ideas for how you want to build out your army guide. So it does give you some flexibility, and I did think about it, and I decided upon a defensive strategy, thinking, the Hojo clan were historically pretty defensive. They built big castles, but that's why they have that bonus in campaign. And so I wanted something that kind of held back, defended well, but with anything, you do need to have a killing arm of your army. With my Oda clan, same thing, like it's a heavy metal kind of army, but I have guns to kill with. So with my Hojo army composition, who's going to be doing the killing? Well, this is going to be my template, right? And you all know this by now. I like to have my general be in a unit of cav archers, and then 2 Yari cav as my light cav, 4 spears, 4 archers, just as a template. And for this army composition, I actually will be keeping this template. I will not be breaking it right away. And then I'm going to be adding 2 Naginata cav. Now, this is the only army composition where I do use Naginata cav. I think that overall, I think they're kind of a boring unit because they broke the perfect cavalry balance in this game that was between the cav archers and the heavy cav and the Yari cav. And that's mainly because they do a lot of the similar jobs that the heavy cav do offer, but they do not require an iron sands deposit to train these guys because you need an armory to train heavy cav, and you don't need an armory to train Naginata cav. So they're much more readily available. They are cheaper to train as well. They do have a higher charge bonus and a higher attack than the heavy cav. Their charge bonus is 2 higher than the heavy cav, and their attack is 2 higher than the heavy cav. Their armor is 2 lower, so they have an armor value of 4. Heavy cav has an armor value of 6, and their defense is way lower. They have a defense value of 1, whereas the heavy cav have a defense value of 7, I think. Interestingly, the Naginata cav do have a higher morale. Their morale is 8, where the heavy cav's morale is 6. So there's some back and forth here, but overall, the Naginata cav is meant to be more of an attacking / charging unit. It is slightly faster on the charge and while it's running than the heavy cav. So there is that as well, and it's not meant for really prolonged melee. But because it does have that high attack as well, it can chop through units. Even in a prolonged melee, it's just going to be taking more damage in return if it doesn't break the enemy right away. But again, because of its high morale, it will stand and fight. It really will. So it's a good unit. It is. It's just that the AI just trains a lot of them just because they're so readily accessible, and that's why you see more of them than heavy cav, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it is. So I will be allowing myself to use them in this army. And as my killing arm, just bringing 2, pretty modest, right? Really holding back there. And then going for the defensive angle for this army composition. 2 Naginata, no surprises there. Very heavily armored, high morale, low attack. You know the drill. I've already used them, I think, in 2 army comps so far, in my Mori army comp and my Oda army comp. So there is that. And then I could just go ahead and put another one in. I could do that, but if we're going to be having a bit of fun here, and doing something a little bit different, this is a good opportunity to throw in a Kensai. Now, Kensais are an interesting unit. If I haven't talked about them yet, I can now. They are just a single man unit. So for those of you who thought that Warhammer brought it on, the single entity units, no, Shogun 1 did it first. So this is kind of based off of that, highest skilled swordsman in the history of the world. What's his name? Oh shoot, did I not look it up before I started recording this? Is it Musashi Miyamoto? Is that what it is? It might be. But I watched the trilogy on him a long time ago, but this unit's based on him, right? And it's an interesting unit. Here's the thing. Does it take 4 turns to train this unit? It might. It takes a while. And then what does it have to offer? Well, it's just one man, so that's kind of the issue, right? It has a very high attack. I think it has an attack of 18, which is crazy. That's so high. Yeah, that's the highest in the game. It's higher than Battlefield Ninjas, that's higher than Warrior Monks, that's higher than Naginata Cav and Heavy Cav. So it does have a very high attack. Its defense is also very high. I think its defense is the same as a Heavy Cav, which is very high. It has really good morale, obviously. Armor is decent. They have armor value of 3, which is nothing crazy, but it's okay. So this is a unit that can really just bog down an enemy unit, you know. In melee, this is going to last a long time. When it's just fighting like basic spears, it can really last a long time. Now, if it's just fighting like Nodachi Samurai and Warrior Monks, it could get cut down a bit faster. And it would be interesting to kind of test that and see how long it can last against a really good fighting unit like Warrior Monks and Nodachi, you know, like 1 versus 60, because these are, you know, the default unit size. They are 60 men, so that would be interesting. Also, when it comes to like taking ranged fire, again, it's not its strength. I think it can take a couple volleys of arrows, but gunpowder will bring it down in a couple volleys. So it's not like, you know, with the unit of Naginata, they can really soak up those arrows, and not so much with gunpowder, but Naginata can soak up some arrows, and they can take up space, which is a good thing as well for the Naginata, because it's, you know, an actual unit, and that can be good. So it's hard to say. And here's the thing, Naginata do have abysmal attack stats. Their attack stats is -1. That's their attack stat. So just for comparison, the attack stat for Yari Sam is 0, and same thing, the Archer is also 0. That's the attack stats for those units. So those units have higher attack stats than Naginata infantry, which is really something. So will the Kensai be killing more than a 60-man unit of Naginata infantry? I guess? The Kensai can only kill a unit per attack animation, so it's not going to be that fast. Sorry, I didn't mean to say kill a unit. I said kill a person per attack animation. You know what I'm trying to say. So it's not like you're going to be doing, even though it has a really good attack, it doesn't sound like it's going to be really, you know, getting in there and just munching down a unit. I wonder about its applications against a daimyo's bodyguard. I actually hadn't considered that, and I have never really heard anyone talk about that matchup either. That would be interesting to see how a Kensai matches up against a daimyo's bodyguard, because that's just a 11-man unit total. It's the 10 bodyguards plus the daimyo, so yeah, that's kind of a niche little application there. Now, another thing that I may have talked about in my Imagawa Army Camp Guide is the idea of, and this is just an idea that I've heard mentioned. I think I did try this once, and that is to use a bunch of Battlefield Ninjas to get across a bridge when you're attacking a bridge province, and they can sneak across the bridge with your Battlefield Ninjas, and they can locate themselves around the periphery of the army, and you can actually do this. I do remember trying this. You can sneak them along the edge of the river, and the enemy won't see them, I guess, or respond to them. And you can locate them around, like, behind the enemy units, but, like, not, you know, so they're far enough away so they're not being spotted. And then what you do is you attack that bridge with the visible Kensai unit, and the enemy just kind of collapses in on the Kensai as he crosses the bridge, and then you spring the trap with your Battlefield Ninjas on the army that's all around, and it turns into like an instant break, because enemy units receive a -8 morale debuff when they're attacked by hidden units in their flanks or rear. So it's just like an instant break. It's pretty awesome, actually. So that's another application. That's cool. That's a thing that you can do. That would take an enormous amount of time to train that army, because it's 4 turns per ninja, I think, and then 4 turns per Kensai? Something like that. That would be a long time to train up that army, but again, it's kind of a fun idea. Now, there's another sort of niche application I can think of, and unfortunately, I tried to back this up by looking up the actual facts on this one, but I spent like, I don't know, like an hour. I was trying to find out where I found this. And man, you know when you find something on the internet years ago and you just keep it in your head for a long time and it becomes like a known fact for you, but then you try to back it up and you can't find it? Oh, that's just what happened to me. So it's my understanding that morale is reduced by how many localized units are in the nearby area. Now, I could find evidence that this is true for the actual numbers of men. So like if you're like locally outnumbered, morale is reduced. I could find that evidence, but I couldn't find evidence for like just actual units themselves, despite, you know, how big they are in manpower size. And that changes things because I thought that each unit themselves would account for an additional, you know, morale debuff depending on how many units were in a localized area, not just the unit, manpower themselves. And yeah, I couldn't find anything that backed that up. Now, here in my anecdotal experience, I do know that units will break. And I've had this with my light cav, my yard cav, and my cav archers when they are behind the enemy army without getting attacked, without even getting shot at. They can break just by being behind the enemy and just by being too close to a couple of units, because just the proximity of those units does have that morale debuff effect. But that doesn't prove my point, unfortunately, because that could just be the local numbers, right? Not just the, you know, the units themselves. So yeah, it's tricky. That, if anything, that kind of makes the point for the Naginata infantry unit over the Kensai, just because that adds more numbers, right? Because I was thinking that a Kensai just could be applying another, you know, morale debuff for an enemy unit, because enemy units can be fighting, well, this is the same for all units, can be fighting more than one unit in a combat. Combat usually isn't matched 1-to-1. You know, it's not usually like that head on. Usually there's like clipping, and there's usually like the edge of it units fighting another unit, and you might be fighting 1v2 or something like that. So the Kensai, what you could be doing is, if I have a Kensai unit in between two Naginata units, and they frontally charge a, you know, an enemy line, we could potentially be getting 3 units attacking into one unit by, you know, having the Kensai count as a unit. But if that's not applying that morale debuff as I thought that it did, then that doesn't matter. So if you folks can find, if you've ever heard of the thing that I mentioned, I looked everywhere. I was looking at the game files, I was looking on the forums. I read the guides for this game. I read the guide for Medieval Total War again, just flipped through it, just because a lot of the stuff we know about Shogun came from what we kind of inferred from what we learned from Medieval. So I went through that again as well. I could not find it, so I just had to like start recording this video anyway. At the very least, this is a fun unit to try out and see just how it works, and see if you can find reasons to use it yourself. And here's the thing. It is a late game unit. It's going to be taking you a while before you can tech up to this unit, and when you can tech up to it, like I said, it takes 4 turns to train. So you're not going to be doing this unit when you're like, you know, really struggling in the beginning of the campaign. You're going to be getting this unit when you're already comfortable. And, you know, at that point in the campaign, you may as well just try stuff. Why not? Have some fun. I typically, what I like to do is to more or less kind of rush the middle point of the map, which is, if I can remember, gosh, I haven't played a campaign in so long. It's Echizen, Hida, oh shit, Owari, Echizen, and what's the middle one? Is it Hida? Echizen, Hida, Owari, is that the line that I like to go to? If you've watched my campaigns, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's that middle line, which is a very good defensible all 3 provinces are very defensible. It's a very narrow frontage, so you don't have to cover, you know, too many provinces. And once you have that line, you can just kind of build up and do whatever you want. Especially if you are playing as a northern faction like the Hojo. You're going to be so rich and so well secured, you can do whatever you want. So you may as well get some Kensai and see if you can find some application for them. Alright, let's dive into a battle and see how this goes. Now we can talk a little bit about ideas on how to deploy this army. Now, this is pretty basic, you know, having the tanky group in the front with the Naginata and the Kensai, being flanked on either side by the spears and the archers, with the Cav Archer General, the Yari Cav, and then the Naginata Cav in reserve. And that way we can kind of respond to whatever the enemy is doing. But something that we can do right away when the battle does begin is we can shift our focus to attacking one front. And this is something that I didn't show well enough in my Mori video, but I did try to make up for it by kind of going back and covering that in my Oda Army Comp video. But here's the idea with this, is that you don't have to think of this as it being the central unit. It doesn't have to be that way. You can start off this way, and depending on how the battle goes, you can, you know, continue this way, but this is the group that's going to be the best at holding something. And these groups, yes, even spears and archers, are going to be better at killing, yes, even in melee, than the Naginata Cav. That's not accounting for the Kensai, but like we already talked about, can't count on him doing too much when it comes to the killing. So what you can do is you can kind of look at the enemy's battle formation, and you can pick the part that you want to attack, and then you can switch everything over, right? You can put your central group over to the left and say, nope, I want to block that side, and then I want to push this side and do this, and then, you know, do this. And then, you know, have my generals group kind of hold here, and then have my Naginata Cav really be the pushing arm and really smash up on that side. So we can do stuff like that, but we don't have to form up that way in the beginning because we don't know what side we want to attack from. So we can, I just wanted to show this as an example, but we can just kind of go back and just do a neutral middle formation and then go from there. We are now all formed up, and when we get a good view of the enemy formation, we'll have an idea of how best we want to attack them. So they have 4 units of warrior monks. Yeah, it's going to be tough to chew through for sure. Now, keep in mind that the best thing that I have against warrior monks is going to be my 4 units of archers plus my Cav Archer General. Then I do have my Naginata Cav on wedge formation just to make them a bit better at killing. So if their warrior monks are going to be in the center of their formation, how do I want to attack that? Let's see here. Let me think. I kind of want to... I want archers all in the center to be able to fire at those warrior monks. I wonder if... Do I want to condense my formation a little bit? And... Because I do want... Yeah, like all 4 archers be firing at those warrior monks if I can. So let's maybe do this and that, and then maybe bring just General up here so he can shoot as well, and then Yari Cav, and I want to split my Naginata Cav. I kind of want my Naginata Cav shooting the gap, actually. Ooh, I like that. I actually like that. Yeah, wait a minute. Let's get these guys out of here then. Let's switch this up. Let's do this instead, and then Naginata Cav come right up here and get ready to shoot this gap here. And having the Kensai kind of leaving this gap open, I kind of like that. At least one of these units can go here. And then, what do I do with the other unit? Do I just leave them behind and just kind of think about it? Maybe I'll just do that. And then I kind of want to still bring up the Cav Archer so that he can shoot. And Yari Cav to defend my general. And then Yari Cav to attack or defend on that sense as well. And yeah, I don't like bringing the Naginata Cav against the Yari Cav. That's just a bad trade for us, especially with the Yari Samurai support. Now, it's a very bloody fight between Naginata Cav and Warrior Monks. It is, but at least the trade when it comes to value is more even. It's just that it's a downward trade when you're throwing Naginata Cav into Yari Cav and Yari Samurai. It's a downward trade. You don't like that. Naginata Cav into Warrior Monks, now you're thinking, okay, well, at least it's like a good unit going up against a good unit, right? So as soon as we have those warrior monks in range, we're going to start to focus them down with our archers. And we'll just try to close off their flank. Since they're not really threatening our flanks with strong units, it shouldn't take much you know, we should just be able to present with spears and Yari Cav and protect. And that should be enough, hopefully. And let's focus here and then here, or should we focus? Yeah, let's focus on that unit instead. In the center. And then these units as well, focus here and then here. And then you focus here. There, so we're focusing on the central units. And now I kind of want... I want to send you up to go after... Oh, never mind, go here, go here. Go here instead and just go into close formation. You don't need all that extra attack going after those warrior monks. And now... let's see here. I think I want to go up the gap on this side with that unit. And this side's going to get a little bit tricky because, yeah, they're flanking with their Yari Cav. Let's come out here and then let's bring you in to attack. And let's try to break them in the center. And then what do you have? Cav archers here? Well, I can probably flank those warrior monks with those guys. And now that these guys are attacking my archers, I can flank them here. And get a flank on here just to try to just break them a little bit. And let's throw in my Yari Samurai here, put them in engage at will. And Kensai, are you fighting? Kensai, you should be fighting. And let's push up with my Naginata as well. And are we going to break them on this side? Oh yeah, those Yari Cav are gonna, or Yari Samurai are going to be very tough. And let's see, Yari Cav are winning. Let's put my Naginata and engage at will here. Yeah, it looks like we broke them on this side. Nice, 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 nice. Alright, let's move up with my left flank, because I want to push those Cav archers. And let's just move back with my Yari... Nope, not you guys. My Yari Cav. I don't want them to get shot by those archers there. And nice, nice. This is a good break. So let's go here, my center, just to push them back. And then Naginata Cav. I want whatever who's left here to get back a little bit. And then right flank move up. And then, yeah, you guys, yeah, get back, Naginata Cav. Because they still have all their archers. Like, I broke their front line, that's cool, but they still have all their archers, so I need to make sure that I have all my archers back and my spears to basically present and shoot. Yeah, just get back here. Present and shoot, and yep, Naginata and Kensai just kind of stand and take that shot. That's what you're here for. And then you guys are going to get in position to start shooting soon. And then, yeah, Yari Cav, just kind of hang back for now. General, get up so that you can return fire, but I don't want you to get in danger, that's for goddamn sure. And let's see here, Cav archers, Cav archers. So I'm going to bring both Yari Cav over to this side, start pushing this Cav archer unit. Let's see, still have some Yari Samurai charging on in. And we're not taking any fire with my general, so that's good. And let's start thinking about pushing on... no, we'll keep my Naginata Cav central. And then, yeah, both Yari Cav units, get out here and get ready to start running after these Yari Cav. Maybe we should make sure we get these warrior monks out of there. Let's clean them up. So we're still shooting here. That looks good. That looks good. And yeah, warrior monks are running away. Yari Cav. Alright, now it's time to charge. Let's get these guys. Charge on that side, break, and then push my right side. And we'll just keep everything... We'll just maintain here. If anything, I can start to swing out a little bit with my Naginata Cav. Let's go into close formation. And it looks like they just broke. Okay, perfect. So let's just push here into the archers, here and then here. Again, support with my right flank and push here. And just take away space. Just take away space. They're going to try to rotate over their left side, but we're already clamping down on that side as well. General still has ammunition as well. And what do they want to bring in? Cav archers? Well, we have two Yari Cav just ready to counter them there. So that's looking pretty good. And yeah, at this point, we can probably just send out Naginata Cav. They can't catch up to Cav archers, but they can at least push them back. Okay, wait a minute, we can catch up to them if they don't run away, that's for sure. And that's the general, so once he breaks, we're looking pretty good. Yeah, at this point, we can just keep pushing. He's running away. We just have to break these 2 more units, and that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that was okay. Honestly, a pretty tough Yosugi army, and I feel like our army did okay. And I'm curious to see how the Kensai did. I don't know if I activated him as well as I could have, but yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Come on, let's just break this last unit here. Come on, here we go. Cav archers really going to stand and fight? God damn. That's the victory, so let's go in here and check this out. So, honor gained on our 2 units of Naginata Cav. Yeah, they did very well. Cav Archer General, 45 kills. Yari Cav, 86 kills and 157 kills. Yep, they did very well as well. Mostly in like running stuff down, but no, good utility. I love that unit. Low morale. They can be a little finicky, but you know, they can be used correctly as well. Yari Sam, they held the line. 32 kills, 13, 33, and 20. Archers also held the line, 45, 43, 52, and 43, very even numbers. And then Naginata Cav, 52 kills, lost 53. So they were in a tough fight. Probably the first unit that I charged on in. And then this is probably the unit that followed up with 104 kills. Again, losing 35 men, but yeah, they got the job done. And then Naginata held the line, 24 kills and 4, and Kensai got 2 kills. That's pretty lame. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Was he not fighting warrior monks? I don't know. Anyway, it's a fun comp. It's worth giving it a shot, and yeah, Hojo are just a fun clan to play in campaign as well. Just because they're so rich, you can do whatever you want. So, if as long as you're going to do whatever you want, you may as well try some fun army camps. So there you go. That's going to be it for this one. Until next time, this has been Kanastep playing Shogun to the War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.